My name is Megan Vanden Hummel. Like Sherry said, I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Student Recruitment for Indiana University. I'm going to be going through all of our master's programs that we have today, and then having quite a bit of chunk of time at the end for any questions and answers. Please feel free to use the chat feature. You can turn on your microphone and ask, but you know we're going to have plenty of time for a discussion at the end. So I'll go ahead and get going. If there's any, concerns about volume, speed, please feel free to let us know as well, and I can accommodate accordingly. All right. So, master's programs overview for the Paul H. O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs at Indiana University, Bloomington. Here's just a quick rundown of what we're going to be discussing today. So we're going to be going over our 5 main programs that we have within the O'Neill School. We have 2 internal dual degrees that we'll be including as well. Different career developments and opportunities that are included within the degree, how to apply, and then a period for questions and answers. So rankings and perks right off the bat. We are currently the top ranked public affairs graduate school in the entire world. It's something that we're very, very proud of. For the 4th year running, we are top ranked in the entire country, as well as many of our concentration areas that are also top ranked. And this is tied entirely to the high quality education that you're getting from the high quality faculty. So they're all at the top of their field. Many of them are past practitioners. So you're really being taught from folks who have lived it versus just out of a textbook. So you're really getting that top ranked education from the best people in the field. And not only are they the best people in the field, but they're some of the coolest people I know. So that's also a really fun perk to it as well. There's a wider range of study abroad opportunities as well that's pretty unique for graduate studies. Most people use that framework for undergraduate studies, most primarily. We have 12 programs annually that go across the world, and they're really tailored to where they're going. So if you were interested in sciences, there's a program that goes to Costa Rica annually where they study hydrology and water resources. There's programs that go out to London and they're working with governmental agencies. So there's really a lot of cool opportunities in order to get that aspect of education if you're looking for more of that global experience. We also have an enormous alumni base. So there's over 34,000 alumni across the entire world. So while we are in the middle of Indiana, you're really getting access to folks everywhere, which is pretty excellent. So program offerings, like I said, we do have those 5 main programs. It's our arts administration. It's a 2-year program. Our Master's of Science in Environmental Science, also 2-year program. Our public affairs program, 2-year program. And then we have 2 accelerated degrees. It's our Master's of Environmental Sustainability and our Master's of Science in Healthcare Management. Those are accelerated 1-year degrees. Those are really 12 months, so it's a full calendar year as opposed to the other ones where they're 4 semesters spread off across 2 years. And then we also have 2 dual degrees within the school. So our Master's of Public Affairs pairs very easily with our Master's of Arts and Arts Administration, as well as the Master's of Science and Environmental Science degrees. So as opposed to getting 2 separate master's degrees that would take you 4 years total, we've combined those because they are in the same school. So there's a lot fewer hurdles to jump in order to accomplish those. So you can get both master's degrees in 2.5 years, which is very, very, very cool. We also have quite a few certificates that are available. So if you were interested in furthering your educational endeavors, you weren't fully sold on getting an entire master's degree right off the bat, these are a great way to kind of get your feet wet, if you would, into the graduate education realm. The top 4 here are all offered online as well. So if you were looking to start working full time, you didn't want to relocate to Bloomington to take these, that's a really great opportunity. And I will mention for our nonprofit management, our public budgeting, financial management, and our nonprofit management, those, if you take those, you can apply those all directly to our Master's in Public Affairs. So if you took these now, you took those 15 credit hours, you came away with that certificate. If you came back to the school, next year, 10 years, 20 years down the road, you can apply those 15 credit hours into your MPA. So it's a great way to save you time and money, in making sure that you're really getting the education that you want in the way that you want it. So into the degrees. So our Masters of Arts or Arts Administration, or MA, as we lovingly call it, because it is quite wordy, is directed by Dr. Michael Rushton. He is an excellent, excellent human being. He is an economist by trade. However, he's always been passionate about the arts. He had a garage band while he was in high school. So he really takes a unique twist into the arts realm, and is an excellent advocate for his students and for the nonprofit field overall. So the key components to the MA degree, it's typically 2 years. Sometimes you can do it in 1.5. It is 45 credit hours. There is an internship required, as well as 3 practicum opportunities. So because Bloomington is such an artsy town, we really want to make sure that you're getting those hands-on experiences while you're still here. So that internship, most folks do it during the summer between their first and second years, and then those practicums are sprinkled throughout the semesters throughout town. So we have different cinemas, we have a playwright organization, there's science and arts labs, there's different museums. So there's a lot of cool different ways to get involved in making sure that you're actually getting those experiences and you're leaving the program with all of those experiences under your belt. So not only are you getting a great education, but you're coming out with a lot of experience in order to bolster that resume. So a couple examples of the different types of courses that you'll be taking as a MA student. So your first class is the organizational behavior and the arts. That's your first core class. Everybody takes it. It is in a cohort style. So you're going to be taking all of these main classes together, which is pretty great. You do have a bit of flexibility, especially within the management and policy courses. You can take different classes within these sections. Same with the skill building courses. You can take different opportunities within there to really specialize the kind of education that you want. And then there's also theory and survey courses that are tied to it as well. So like I mentioned, the practicum requirements, these are just a couple of the examples of things that we have in town. So the Jacobs School of Music, it's one of the top music schools in the country, which is something that we're very, very proud to have here. We partner with them pretty directly. So a lot of our students work with them directly. A lot of our alumni work with the school still. We also have an excellent museum here on campus, lots of cool opportunities in town. So while it is required, we make it pretty easy and pretty fun to complete. So onto our environmental science areas. So this is for our Masters of Science in Environmental Science, as well as the Masters of Environmental Sustainability, or the MSES and the MES, respectively. Because again, the titles are pretty long, so we like to kind of squish those into little letters instead. So both of these programs are directed by Dr. Vicki Morensky. Again, one of the coolest people I know. She has been with O'Neill for a little over 20 years, and she is just phenomenal. She is a strong advocate for environment, for wildlife, and for her students. So she is one of the folks that has spent a lot of time as a practitioner. So she really comes at the educational lens as someone who has already done it, and she knows what students need to know in order to be a successful practitioner, as she was. So she's worked with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. She's got many degrees in many different schools across the country and across the world, and has worked within the Grand Canyon, which is kind of unique. So key components to the MES degree, that is our one-year accelerated environmental sustainability degree. So it's 2 full semesters. There is a one week 3-credit summer course as well. So you're really, it's the only way in order to ensure you're getting all the education that you need. We've got some unique ways in order to make that happen. And that's with this 1 week, 3-credit summer course. So most of the time, 3 credits are taken across the course of 4 months. So this one's a bit fun. It's very engaged and it's very engaging. So it's something fun to keep in mind. This one is unique where we have only a few core classes and then almost everything else is based within your concentration. So it's a very customizable degree. So these are the core concentration areas. It's really for folks who know exactly what they want to do when they grow up, because they're pretty pinpointed areas within the environment. So there's quality and toxicology, municipalities, sustainable water resources, and natural resource conservation and management. Some of these classes can overlap, so if you're interested in different areas though, you can kind of get a wide range of information from this degree as well. So for our Master's of Science in Environmental Science, that's our 2-year degree. It's a bit more expansive and it's a bit more in-depth into the science realm of it. So it's one of the largest and oldest programs of its kind in the nation. So it's 2 years in length, it's 48 credit hours. Again, an experiential requirement is required. Most folks do this during their first and second semesters. And luckily we do have a lot of opportunities because we are in the middle of Indiana, which is great. But there's a lot of forests, there's a lot of natural resources around town and around the general area. So while these are required, again, we do make it very feasible and very flexible in order to make these requirements possible. So this is the only one of our programs that does have prerequisites. So it's important to keep in mind as you're completing your education or moving forward if this is something that you are interested in. So we do require 1 semester of calculus, it can be any level, as well as 1 semester of inorganic chemistry with a lab. So if you are capable, combining that into your current education, you're also welcome to take it at a community college if you wanted to transfer those credits over. You can also take it during your first semesters here at the O'Neill School. That would just take place of some of your core classes instead for that first semester. So quite a few different ways to make that happen, especially if time or money, play into those decision-making factors of when you would take those. So for our core courses within the MSES, of course, environmental science courses, you're going to be taking environmental chemistry, applied ecology, statistics, economics, law, policy, and then there's a lot of tool classes as well. So negotiation and dispute resolution is one of our most popular courses, which sounds a little dry, but it's got a lot of excellent information and it goes a very long way for our students that are looking to go into these fields. I will also mention that we do have a capstone requirement. We are more of a practical-based school as opposed to a research-based school. So all of our programs do require a capstone as opposed to a thesis. However, it is an option if you present it to Dr. Moratsky, but most folks are doing the capstone process. So for our Master's of Science in Healthcare Management, or the MSHM, this is a relatively new degree. We are just wrapping up our first full year of fruition. It's directed by April Grudai. She's got a Master's of Public Health from Emory, so she's very, very cool, very, very educated. She has worked for many years within the IU health system, and when she was planning and creating this degree, she was meeting with all of her colleagues, all of her connections across the healthcare system across the entire country, really learning what students need to know in order to succeed. So she was getting that impact and that influence from everyone, all the key players within the healthcare field, and applying that into the program. So it's a very, very well thought out and thorough program, making sure that you're getting all of the knowledge that you need in order to succeed in the healthcare field. So this is one of our abbreviated course, accelerated, not abbreviated, programs. It's 1 year in length, it's 36 credit hours. It is a direct joint degree with the Kelley School of Business. So your diploma will say both the O'Neill School and the Kelley School. Half your credits are taken within O'Neill, half are within Kelley. So it's really split down the middle joint. There is a week-long Washington campus experience that is tied into the program. So that's through the Kelley School of Business. It's 3 credit hours that's completed in 1 week across spring break. So you're going to Washington, you're meeting with those main game changers and the decision makers on the Hill and within the government that are making these decisions. You're going to be interacting with them directly in order to get that hands-on experience. Again, that's something that's very important across all of our programs. So it's another way that we include that. There's also a practicum opportunity that's tied to this program. So you can be placed directly within IU Health. 100% of our students did take a part of this opportunity this past year, and 100% of them liked it. Currently, 70% of our students are employed, and it is probably tied very, very closely to the fact that they had a full year of experience before they graduated. So it's pretty intentional, and it's a pretty excellent opportunity as well. So for core classes within our MSHM, we have the Kelly Integrated Core. It's what we lovingly refer to as Kelly Boot Camp. So it's most of the summer you will be taking these Kelly courses. So it's 6 credit hours in about 2 months. So it's pretty in-depth, but you're getting all of that managerial information that you need. In the fall semester, you will be taking health economics, finance, operation management, and then in the spring, it's healthcare policy, analytics, information technology. And then there's a couple elective opportunities there as well. So for our MPA, this is really our flagship program. It is currently directed by Dr. Sonia Carley. Again, one of the coolest people. She has been a member of the O'Neill faculty since 2010 and is really at the top of her field within energy resources and research in that respect. So she has done tons and tons of research. So it's very, very cool to have her be able to run this program and share all of that knowledge with all of us. So key components of the MPA program, it is 2 years in length. It is 48 credit hours. Again, an internship is required. Most folks, again, always do that during their first and second years. So right in that summer is when it's most common. There's also a concentration requirement. We do have 12 concentrations for the MPA, and there is also an opportunity for a specialized study component. So it's very, very flexible in order to making sure that you're actually getting that education and the knowledge that you want from your MPA. So here are a couple of our examples of the different concentrations. Didn't want to put them all up here because it's a lot, but community economic development is one of our most popular, as is nonprofit management. But I also want to mention, if you had interest in any of our different areas like environmental policy or health policy, but didn't want to fully commit to those degrees, you can certainly sprinkle that in within your MPA if you wanted access to those fields to work in the future. So it's pretty excellent that all of our degrees are really interwoven in that fashion. And that's especially obvious within our concentrations. International development, information systems, and I will also mention that a lot of our students do dual concentrate. So if multiple of these do spark your interest, that is an opportunity where you can really take multiple of these at once. Most of the time it's just 2. Some find a way to sprinkle in 3. It takes very strategic planning, but it is a good way to really get in all of that knowledge that you want, like I mentioned. So for our dual degrees, so our MA-MPA, that's the Arts Administration and Public Affairs program, you're getting 2 master's degrees in 5 semesters. So it's only 1 extra semester with those 15 to 18 credits. Because we are in the same school, like I said, they're very, very integrated. So there's fewer hurdles to jump. We already have those hard things wired out for you. And for the MA-MPA, it's a 1 to 2 faculty to student ratio. So you are getting the top knowledge, you are getting top resources to our faculty, and you're really being able to make those direct connections right within the program, which is pretty excellent. So the key components of the MPA-MA, you are required to take both core courses for both programs. So that's something important to keep in mind. There's also a couple extra focused courses. So there's nonprofit management and financial management. You're required to take those if you do take the dual route. And then you're still required the experiential component that's required for both. And then for our MPA-MSES, that's our Public Affairs and Environmental Science dual degree. Again, 2 master's degrees in 5 semesters. It is the highest ranked MPA and the highest ranked environmental policy programs in the country. So tying them together while you're already at the school often makes a lot of sense for our students. There's also specialized concentration offerings specifically for our dual students, and it's only 12 extra credits and you get 2 master's degrees, which is pretty phenomenal. So the key components, again, you are required to take the public affairs and the environmental science courses. You are required to declare concentration. There are 3 extra credit hours that you are required to take. And then again, that experiential component is required. So these are a couple different routes that you can take for folks that are looking to do the dual MPA-MSES program. For the concentration areas, because there's so many with this route, which is really excellent. So you can do any MPA concentration, you can do any MSES concentration, you can do one of each, you can do one of the concentrations that are meant for our dual students specifically, or one of our specialized concentration areas. So we have made this as flexible as possible, and our students really seem to appreciate it because they're genuinely coming out with the knowledge and information that they want. So here's a couple of our extra concentration areas. So for the MSES, there's an ecology, conservation, energy, water resources, and environmental chemistry, toxicology, and risk assessment. And then there's the specific concentrations for our dual students. So a little different flavor of energy here: environmental management, water management, and environmental systems and modelings. So while we have those dual degrees within the institution or within the O'Neill School, there are many outside the O'Neill School throughout the institution. So some of the most common ones are the MPA tied with a JD degree with the Maurer School of Law, the MPA with a Master's of Information Science, as well as the MPA with Masters of Library Science. There's also many, many that are tied to different MAs. So if you were looking for specific knowledge on specific regions and cultures, there's a lot of different opportunities in order to get those degrees as well. So whatever you're looking to do when you grow up, we have ways in order to get that knowledge in order to make that happen. So the Capstone, like I mentioned briefly earlier, we are more of a practical-based program as opposed to a research-based. So it's genuinely a culmination of your degree. It's a semester-long program with a real live client. You're solving an actual problem for them. So oftentimes they come onto campus, you're going to be interacting with them directly, and you're going to be solving a problem and presenting to the company by the end of the semester. So it's a great opportunity to work as a group and to solve a real life problem before you're put into that position. So again, it's something that a lot of our students really value about our program. It's something that they often put on their resume, and it's often, what they reflect most fondly upon for us including that into our program. So it's something that's pretty unique, and there's also many, many opportunities of capstones each semester. So for example, if you are an MPA student, but you had an interest in the sciences, you can take a science-focused capstone. So it doesn't have to align directly with your program. It's really a good way to make a well-rounded culmination of your degree. So more on that experiential requirement, there's a couple different opportunities in order to make this feasible. So the most common is an approved internship. You just have to run it through our career center. They just want to make sure that what you're doing makes the most sense, and if it makes sense to get credit hours for it. Some of our students, if they are looking to get that more global perspective into their education, tied to our O'Neill Abroad opportunities, a lot of folks will tie those to internships while they're over there. So they'll go abroad for 3 weeks and they'll get that study abroad experience, and then they'll stay for a little while longer and get that internship abroad as well. So it's a unique opportunity that we offer here. For folks that have prior professional experience, military service, or volunteer service, whether it be with Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, or Teach for America, oftentimes that will offer credit reductions, and that includes that experiential requirement. So if you feel like you have already gained what we're hoping you will within that internship, that's something that can be waived. It's just through a simple application process. There's also an opportunity for an independent research or group project. This is a little less common, but for folks that are really interested in that research area, they're looking to pursue a PhD in the future, this is a cool opportunity in order to making sure that you're getting those experiences that you really want. So internships, there are a lot of cool opportunities that our students have pursued. So just a couple examples, there's folks that do it across the world, across the country, and across town, really. So some folks, they choose to go back to their home states, like our student that went to the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma. Mother Hubbard's Cupboard is a food shelter within the Bloomington community. We also have a direct partnership with the Brazilian government, which is pretty cool. So that's an annual internship opportunity that we do have with their government. So again, if you're looking for that international flair to it, that is something that we are very intentional with, making sure that it's pre-prescribed within our program and we're keeping those opportunities alive. So a couple fun perks to our program. 86% of our students are employed directly after graduation. It is broken down by degrees off to the right-hand side. So we're very proud of our students, and we do try to make those connections as feasible and as practical for our students. With our internal career center, as well as our alumni office, we are making sure that these interactions are very, very feasible. Below, we have our average mean salaries. This is by no means what our students are making, mid to higher career. This is right off the bat. So certainly don't let this scare you away. A lot of our students are getting hired at much higher rates, but this is something that we have collected in order for, a bit of a realistic viewpoint. So our internal career center, it's the O'Neill Career Hub. They are very, very intentional, making sure that our students are getting the services and the supplies that they need in order to succeed within their career space. So that's with resume and cover letter writing workshops at the very minimum. They often bring employers, companies, alumni back onto campus in order to interact with our current students pretty directly. So those are with what we call our career catalysts. So that's when we bring very large companies onto campus, like Fiat Chrysler. They are on campus very, very regularly because we've got a lot of alumni that work there. And they're actually located in my college town, which is pretty fun. So they're always making sure that we are making these resources available as opposed to having our students pay to travel around and interact with these companies. We bring them here instead. So it makes it a lot easier and it's a lot less of a financial burden onto our students. And like I mentioned earlier, our alumni network is very, very large, and we try to keep it very, very intentional. So we are always interacting with our alumni. We're making sure that they have the resources that they need, and we try to keep them as engaged with our current students in order to make sure that everyone is getting what they need out of that connection. So most important, the estimated expenses. I know this is certainly what folks typically have the most questions on. So we try to be as transparent as physically possible. So these are based on the 1920 school year cost of attendance. So do keep in mind that these are estimates. So it could fluctuate ever so slightly by the time if you choose to enter, might fluctuate just a little, but it is a good base point in order to kind of understand where we're coming from. So the tuition for Indiana residents, it's about $27,000. For non-residents, it is $63,000. And then these fees, books, cost of living, these are based on estimates that we got from our current students. So we're not, plucking these out of the air. We really interacted with our students to see how they're living, what they're paying, in order to offer our prospective students a really valuable and honest cost of living expense. So do keep in mind that this is a sticker price. So we do offer a lot of fellowship opportunities to really offset this price, but these are just sticker values. So that's something to keep in mind. So don't let it scare you too much. So our Masters of Arts in Arts Administration, the cost is a little different because it is technically hosted within our graduate school as opposed to the O'Neill School because it is a Masters of Arts degree. So their tuition is just ever so slightly different, so I wanted to highlight that as well. Same for the MSHM degree. That is slightly different because half the tuition fees are at the Kelly rate and the other half are at the O'Neill rate. So it's just ever so slightly different, and it is only a one-year program. So those rates are just a little different, but the fees, books, cost of living, those are all going to be the same. So for tuition assistantship and fellowship opportunities, so we have fortunately passed the fellowship opportunity for fall 2020 if y'all were interested in starting immediately. But those are not required to have a separate application. You just have to submit your regular application into our online system by our priority deadline, which was New Year's Eve this past year. It'll likely be New Year's Eve next year. There's no separate application, and you have a potential of getting 25 to 50% tuition remission. So it's really just a nice slash in your bill. So it's a great opportunity, especially with minimal heavy lifting on your side if you're looking to offset that cost of education, because I know it can get somewhat burdensome. So that's a really good way to kind of start getting a better handling on your education. There's also a cool opportunity that we have. It's similar to AmeriCorps for those that are familiar. We call it Service Corps. So it's specifically for O'Neill students, and it's specifically within the Bloomington community. You do have to be work study eligible, so you have to complete your FAFSA degree, your application, not your degree. Interviews are required with those different partnering organizations within the community. And then they're within the arts, nonprofit, and public placements. So regardless of what you're interested in, there's typically going to be an organization that is interested in working with our current students. So it's a really cool way to get involved with the community, get further experience, and also get paid for it, which is pretty great. So there's a lot of assistantship opportunities as well across the O'Neill School and across the IU system as well. So most of our students are going to be working as TAs, or they're going to be working as research assistants or within the administration functions within different offices that we have within the O'Neill School. Most are 10 to 15, some are 15 to 20, and they're paid hourly. However, right now, the hourly rate for graduate students is $14.25. So I know that's much higher than any hourly position I have ever had. So it certainly adds up pretty quickly. We want to make sure that our students have the resources that they need, and sometimes that includes, you know, a little extra pocket money. So that's what we offer to our students. Over 50% of our students are currently employed by the school, and we often look for students all the time. So it doesn't have to be right off the bat. You know, within the master's program office, we hired 3 new GAs in the winter. So, you know, that's something good to keep in mind. You don't have to have that ironed out right when you start. So values to service. So we really do highlight folks that have spent time volunteering within Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, and Teach for America. So for each year, you get 3 credit hours reduction for service with a maximum of 6 credit hours. Peace Corps is 2 years. Often AmeriCorps is 2 years as well. With that, you get that maximum of 6 credit reduction. You get an application fee waiver. And then there's also a Coverdell Fellow Program for returning Peace Corps volunteers. So if you were looking to get that extra service opportunity, do know that we respect that and we honor that within the O'Neill School. And we certainly reflect that with how we help you get that degree, whether it be cost savings, time savings, what have you. So application checklist. So it's a very easy online application. We just switched over this past fall, actually, and it's a pretty user-friendly system. It's go.iu/O'Neill app. We do require unofficial transcripts during the application process. You don't have to pay out of pocket right off the bat for these different transcript transfers over to the O'Neill School. However, if you are admitted, we do require those official transcripts before you start. 3 letters of recommendation are required as well. Personal statement based on our slogan, Lead for the Greater Good. 2 additional writing samples, a resume, or a CV. If you're an international applicant without a degree from an English-speaking institution, we do require some English exams. And then I will mention for most of our programs, our final deadline for fall 2020 is May 1st. So the MES program deadline was April 1st. So that is just passed. But we are still accepting applications. So if you're looking to, kind of bolster your education, looking to move forward, do know that we are still accepting applications. So at this point, I will go ahead and open it up for any questions and answers. Please feel free to use your microphone. I will go ahead and turn on my video so you can actually talk to an actual human being. And feel free to ask me anything that you would like to know, any further clarity, anything about the town, anything about me, just let me know.
On the first slide of the estimated costs, you list all the different programs, and then you highlighted the other programs that have different tuition costs. I noticed that the MPA and the MA dual degree isn't listed. Is that the same cost as the other dual degree, or what's the cost of that one?
I believe it is the same, yes.
Thank you.
And I think Maddie raised her hand. She still has a question.
Did you say there's no prerequisites for the master's in environmental sustainability?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Hi. For the MSES, if you did not have one of the prerequisites, because at center with inorganic chemistry, that's not built into the degrees for many of the STEM majors, would that put you behind in terms of timing to complete the degree?
No, it would just take place of one of your elective credit hours. So if you were choosing to take that within your first semester, it certainly wouldn't set you behind timeline-wise, but it may just restrict your different elective options that you could take moving forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. I just have a question about the possible online program and how that would compare in cost, and also if there are financial aids for the online programs themselves.
Sure. So right now, the only online program that we have is our MPA. That's offered fully online. The other one's currently not online, unfortunately, but they do require quite a bit more hands-on experience. So for the MPA, our fully online program, you're getting the exact same education as you would if you were in person. So that's already built in. It's already a very highly respected online program. I will mention that there are fewer concentration areas. They are our most popular concentration areas for our in-person program. We've offered those online, so it's nonprofit management. We've got our public budget analysis. There's public administration. So those are the main focus areas. There are also concentration elective spaces. So if you're looking to further the education into those different realms that aren't offered within the concentration, we do offer that as well. And for fellowship opportunities, those are going to be the same for our online programs as well. So you would have to apply by a priority deadline, but you can start fall, winter, or summer. So there's a bit more flexibility with it. Most folks do take 6 credit hours as opposed to the 12 credit hours for folks that are in person, just because most of the time people are working full time. So it's a bit more manageable to do it at a slower pace, but it's pretty manageable. Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, I think so. And also for the certificates themselves, the 1-year certificates, how much do those cost just to do by themselves?
So those would be the same tuition prices as like the MPA with that main slide that I mentioned. It's for in-state, it's about $3,000 per credit hour, I believe, per class. All of that is listed out online though.
Okay.
If you're an out-of-state Indiana resident, would you be able to claim in-state status after a certain period of time, or would that be more applicable to longer programs like PhDs and things like that?
So unfortunately, the state of Indiana is a little picky. With that, you would have to relocate to the state for reasons outside of education for at least 1 full year in order to claim in-state tuitions by the time that you started. What else? Does anyone have any other questions that I could assist you with? Well, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today. I will mention my contact information is shared on the screen. Please feel free to call or email me at any time. We are all working from our couches, so I do have a bit more flexibility time-wise. So please, anytime you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Megan, so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And just a reminder, this will be up on our YouTube channel, so you guys can refer to that for her information or anything else from the presentation as well. So thank you guys for attending today.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
All right. Everybody stay safe and healthy.
Take care. Cool.
All right. Thank you so much, Megan.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that went well.
Yeah. And I will make sure to send the link to the YouTube video to you so that you can have it as well.
Perfect. Feel free to, you can blast out my information.
Okay, great. And
yeah,
hopefully one day,
attendees.
yeah, hopefully one day, maybe you can come in person.
True. Yeah. I will certainly keep your contact information as we're able to leave the house.
I know.
Would love to make that trek.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I will talk to you soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.